Oh, I think you broke my arm.
I definitely broke your arm. But the good news is the hospital's only 20 minutes away.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And in this installment of Versus, the classic B-movie Roadhouse faces off against its 2024 remake. In one corner, we have the Swayze Eighties, and in the other, the MMA Millennium of Jake. If you haven't seen either of them, consider this your extreme spoiler warning.
It's my way or the highway. So anybody who wants to walk, do it now.
Round 1, The Town. Both Roadhouse movies are largely about a big-time rumble in a small town.
I don't fly. Too dangerous.
The '89 version takes place in the boroughs of Missouri, populated by likable, hardworking, and honest Americans. A modest farmer, a mild-mannered shop owner, and a troubled nightclub manager are among the endearing players that our hero befriends. The enchanting Doc Elizabeth Clay stitches up James Dalton's wounds and snares his heart.
Guess I picked the wrong guy.
And when Dalton's mentor, Wade Garrett, joins the team, the rootin' tootin' band of good guys becomes complete. It's a cast of characters that's easy to get behind, and they make the stakes feel even higher when the punches start to fly.
Hey, I had it under control.
Yeah, I knew that. Had to see you.
The new Roadhouse trades the rural Midwestern locale for a Floridian beach town called Glass Key. This Dalton is hired by Frankie, the supervisor of a vandalized seaside bar that's in need of his protection.
So listen, I own a roadhouse out in the Florida Keys.
He's also welcomed by the humble proprietor of a bookstore and his charming daughter, along with quirky townsfolk and a bizarre legend about a rogue crocodile.
You best watch out for that damn croc.
His love interest is the fiery Ellie, who slowly opens up about her troubled past and corrupt policeman of a father. All in all, the inhabitants of Glass Key have deeper backstories and bring an extra layer of subtext to the script. The amplified believability and character development mean that we're even more emotionally invested in this band of misfits.
Pick these up in the morning, Jim.
Winner, 2024. Round 2, The Threats. Just like ranchers would fight for their land in a classic Western, the townsfolk of Jasper must battle oppression from greedy business tycoons. The robber baron here is Brad Wesley, a wealthy mogul who unofficially owns the community.
Oh, terrific. Hope you're gonna clean that place up.
He's got some burly henchmen in his service, the standout being Jimmy Reno, an ex-con with the combat skills to stand up to Dalton. Wesley initially appears to have a friendly, artificial politeness, reminiscent of Dalton's be nice policy. But underneath is a savage tyrant who can instantly command violence to make his point.
But you and I know that isn't so, don't we?
Reno mirrors Dalton's quiet confidence, but he carries it with a devilishly sinister edge. With their unpredictability and inherent barbarism, these thugs definitely feel like a tough takedown. The main antagonist in Glass Key is Ben Brandt, the son of an unseen drug lord that's stuck behind bars. While Brandt has some solid moments, he comes across mostly whiny and entitled when compared to the original film's baddies.
And you're here laughing as everything I've been trying to build is going down the drain.
His goons are mostly forgettable, and even the crooked sheriff doesn't get much screen time. The villainous spotlight really goes to Knox, a titanous man-mountain who's recruited to take down Dalton. Knox is doubtlessly a powerhouse, and he's compellingly entertaining to watch.
I got a message for you from your father.
A message.
Still, many of his scenes are played for laughs, and his brutish behavior isn't quite as scary as Reno's carefully controlled danger. Ultimately, the threats in the 1989 Roadhouse appear much more menacing. So this round goes to the classic.
There's something wrong with you.
Winner, 1989. Round 3, Dalton. Each of these leading men fills every frame with their presence, and they're just as quick to toss out smiles as they are fists.
Mr. Smiley?
Yeah. We had this idiot grin since I walked in.
Jake Gyllenhaal's Elwood Dalton is decidedly darker, a former mixed martial arts competitor who once killed a man after losing control of his anger. Having never forgotten it, Dalton lives in continual fear that he will one day make the same mistake again. Gyllenhaal is certainly charismatic, though he sometimes comes across as a bit too goofy.
See what I mean? It's really painful. You're not like a piano player or anything, are you?
He does a great job of transitioning from moments of comedy to ferocity, and he's sprouted a few impressive pecs that make his battle victories believable. But Gyllenhaal is still more of an actor than a movie star, and he doesn't quite have Swayze's gravitas.
Looky here, our own little octagon.
What? Who taught you shapes?
James Dalton is so cool, we don't even hear his first name spoken aloud. He's a pro bouncer who speaks softly and carries a nasty skill set.
I want you to remember that it's a job. It's nothing personal.
Besides his right and left hooks, Dalton comes equipped with a philosophy degree and regularly practices Tai Chi. Murder also haunts his past, though this crime was committed in self-defense rather than a fit of rage. He's confident yet humble, eager to credit his veteran advisor as being the best.
He's good. He's real good.
Patrick Swayze portrays Dalton with an amiable magnetism that makes him relatable, but the actor's superstar power also gives the performance plausible fortitude. Gyllenhaal's updated take on the character is a worthy successor, but nobody puts Swayze in a corner.
Do you ever win a fight?
Nobody ever wins a fight.
Winner, 1989. Round 4, the fights. If you've chosen Roadhouse as your Friday night flick, you've probably come for the action. And the original has plenty. There's a thrilling mix of chaotic bar brawls and well-choreographed hand-to-hand combat. Many of the actors, including Swayze, did their own impressive stunt work. Marshall Teague, who plays the wicked Jimmy Reno, holds a black belt in multiple disciplines of the martial arts. And he happily shows them off in one of the movie's most memorable standoffs. Sometimes campy and always bloody, the physical feuds of Roadhouse never leave the excitement at home. Make sure you've packed an extra throat guard.
I'm gonna kill you the old-fashioned way.
Roadhouse 2024 turns up the intensity with even more brutal and even more shirtless bare-knuckle beatdowns.
Oh, I just slapped you. Are you alright?
The action is greater in frequency, and it never hesitates to showcase pain on both sides of the opposition. Real-life MMA fighter Conor McGregor shines in a grand finale face-off against Dalton, tearing set piece after set piece apart as the two pound each other into oblivion. These matchups feel messier and more disorganized than those in their predecessor, and the result is a heightened sense of manic peril. It feels like anybody could lose. While both movies celebrate the excessive brawn of an over-the-top action flick, the new Roadhouse does it with an extra shot of adrenaline.
This piano's out of tune.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Winner, 2024. Round 5, the Payoff. In case you missed the parallels between Roadhouse and the Hollywood Western, the newest rendition has some meta-commentary for you.
This is kind of sounding more like a mystery western.
With the main conflict resolved and the town at peace, Elwood Dalton hops a Greyhound and rides off into the sunset like the cowboys of old. He still harbors his violent tendencies, but he's also displayed a sense of justice that the people around him have definitely noticed.
You ain't the villain either.
2024's ending is morally ambiguous, and arguably leaves Dalton in the same metaphorical place as where he started. It's some heavy food for thought. But we signed up for a beefy and brainless popcorn action feature, so do we really want to be analyzing it this much?
That's always how the story ends, right?
Which Roadhouse is the winner might depend on your answer to that last question. 1989's James Dalton is also something of a lone desperado, wandering into a troubled village to save the day.
You got a name?
Yeah?
You could pick out allegories to predatory capitalism in his tale, finding satisfaction when the oppressed civilians rise up against a nefarious autocrat.
This is our town, and don't you forget it.
More likely, you'll experience a sense of vengeance for the death of Wade Garrett once you see his murderer taken out. Dalton gets a mild character arc, ultimately refusing to kill Brad Wesley himself. He's unquestionably good and earns himself a commonplace happy ending. The OG Roadhouse tugs at all the easy, expected heartstrings. And at the end of the day, that is just what we came for.
Keep the change. Roadhouse.
Winner, 1989. By a score of 3-2, the OG 1989 Roadhouse beats the 2024 remake. Do you agree, or are we gonna have to take this outside? Be sure to let us know in the comments down below.
Best movie to ever make. Roadhouse.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.